Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're jumping into a really powerful and honestly often overlooked factor in student well-being, spirituality. With all the pressures of university life, which are higher than ever, could things like meditation and reflection actually offer a real solution? Let's dig in.
So let's just ask it straight up. We all see the highlight reels on social media, right? But what's really going on behind the scenes? University is this incredible, transformative time. But let's be real, the constant pressure can take a serious toll. So what are students actually doing to cope, and is it working?
And the reality is, and research backs this up time and time again, it's pretty much a perfect storm of pressure. You've got these intense academic demands slamming into the challenge of navigating brand new social worlds, all while that giant question of what comes next is just hanging over your head. This isn't just about feeling a little stressed, it's a huge challenge to students' mental and emotional health.
Okay, so we've set the stage with the problem, but we're not just going to leave it there. We're going to explore a potential piece of the solution, and we're going to do it by looking at some fascinating new research. A recent study took this issue on directly, and honestly, the findings might just surprise you.
So, where are we getting these insights? Well, it all comes from a focus study of 134 university students. Now, that might not sound like thousands of people, but the depth of what they shared gives us a really valuable window into what they're actually experiencing. So, how'd they do it? It's pretty straightforward, actually. They surveyed 134 students, a mix of male, female, and other genders, from all sorts of backgrounds. It was an online survey, where they just had to rate statements about their well-being on a scale from strongly disagree all the way to strongly agree. The real focus? The connection between their spiritual practices and their mental health.
And listen, this is a really crucial point. For this study, when we say spiritual practices, we are not talking about any single religion. It's a big, inclusive umbrella term for things like meditation, prayer, or really any kind of quiet, contemplative reflection that people use to connect with themselves and find some inner peace.
Okay, let's get to the good stuff. The findings. What did these 134 students actually have to say? Well, the data is pretty eye-opening. First up, let's talk about stress. A huge 56% of students, that's more than half, agreed that their spiritual practices were a key tool for managing the crazy pressures of university. In an environment that's basically defined by deadlines and exams, this is a really big deal.
Now, what about resilience? The ability to bounce back when things get tough? This is where the numbers get even more powerful. A massive 72% of students felt their spiritual beliefs gave them strength in hard times. So this isn't just about calming down, it's a source of real inner strength.
And this right here, this might be the biggest takeaway of all. An incredible 76%. That's more than 3 out of every 4 students said that their spirituality helps them find meaning and purpose in their lives. In a world that can feel pretty chaotic sometimes, that is a powerful anchor.
But, it's never that simple, is it? As with any good research, the story doesn't just end there. The data also showed some really important complexities. This isn't some magic bullet that works for absolutely everyone, and the details here really matter.
For instance, the study noticed a subtle but statistically significant difference between genders. While both men and women definitely reported benefits, female students reported slightly higher levels of emotional balance from these practices. Their average score was a 4.0 out of 5 compared to a 3.8 for the male students.
And honestly, the researchers themselves are the first to point this out. This quote from the paper really sums it up perfectly. It says that things like your personal beliefs, your past experiences, and your cultural background all play a huge role in whether these practices will actually work for you.
So, what do we do with all this? Data's great, but how do we turn these insights into real, actual support for students?
Well, let's look at a potential blueprint for putting this into action.
So the study suggests a kind of 4-part plan. First off, offer a wide variety of stress management tools, not just one thing. Think mindfulness apps right alongside traditional counseling. Second, tailor the support. Since we saw that female students reported slightly greater emotional benefits, maybe workshops for them could focus on that theme of emotional balance. For male students, maybe the focus could be more on building resilience. Third, build that resilience by sharing stories. Just creating a space where students can talk about what works for them can be incredibly powerful. And finally, and this is so important, you have to acknowledge that this stuff is not for everyone.
And really, if you take one thing away, let it be this. It all boils down to choice. The whole point is to create an inclusive environment where these spiritual or reflective tools are an available option, not a mandate. The power is in making it accessible, not in making it a requirement.
Which leaves us with the final big question to think about. Could this be it? Could a more personalized, more holistic approach that actually makes room for things like spiritual practice be the future of how we support student well-being on campus? Based on this data, it sure seems like a path that's very much worth exploring.